ATU Galway, who heads up the coordination of the programme across all of our education providers. You will also hear success stories from our company representatives that are reaping the benefits of these apprenticeships. And on the call this morning, we will have Kim Keneally, who's a fourth-year apprentice from Boston Scientific in Clonmel. We have Greg Foley from J&J Vision in Limerick. We have Nicola O'Connell, who's the HR manager for T Connectivity. And you'll hear their experiences to date with the apprenticeships. And I'm going to now hand you over to Jen Lynch, who's going to give our consortium lead introduction. Over to you, Jen.
Thank you very much, Trish. And it's great to have everyone here. Thanks for taking an hour out of your busy schedules to hear a bit more about the apprenticeships. Just to flag as well, we are going to be recording this. You might have seen it pop up there on Teams, just for anyone who that maybe isn't able to make it, that they might want to watch back. So hopefully that's all right with everyone here. So we'll kick off. I'll just do a quick 10-minute overview before I hand over to Dr. Paul O'Dowd on the academic side of things. So starting off very much back to basics, there are two types of apprenticeships in Ireland. So some of you may be familiar with the craft apprenticeships, or what some people might call the more traditional trade apprenticeships. And then there's also the consortia-led apprenticeships. Our manufacturing engineering apprenticeship falls under the consortia-led model, and that's where Ibec comes into it. So we are the consortium lead for the manufacturing engineering apprenticeships. So the program titles. So under the manufacturing engineering apprenticeships, there are 3 programs. So the first is manufacturing technician level 6. That's a 2-year program. The next is Manufacturing Engineer Level 7. That's a 3-year program. And in 2024, we launched our Advanced Manufacturing Engineer Level 8 program. So that's 4 years. And it's great to see that extra kind of progression route available to candidates, that they can go all the way to getting their Level 8 via the model of apprenticeships. And we saw our very first group of graduates come the full way through the Level 8 program in 2025, which was very exciting. So the Level 6 and 7 programs have been accredited by Engineers Ireland, and we will be going for accreditation on the Level 8 program as well. So just quickly to take you through the occupational profiles. So this gives you a really good overview of, I suppose, the typical tasks and responsibilities that the apprentice would be expected to carry out at each level. So I'll just give you a couple of examples. So at level 6, the apprentice is very much there in a support function. So they're technical support for existing processes. They troubleshoot equipment, assist with validation activities, establish and coordinate corrective preventative maintenance activities, and they work on implementing engineering projects within a scope and timeline. At level 7 then, the candidate is there to kind of optimize those existing processes. So they monitor equipment performance, correct equipment process parameter issues to maximize quality and yield. They analyze and solve problems using structured techniques and apply project management principles to process improvement projects. At level 8 then, the expectation is the apprentice will be able to take on a bit more responsibility, as they already do have a good deal of experience behind them in the couple of years they've been working. So they can redesign and introduce new processes, tackle higher level tasks like data networking and system integration, design of engineering experiments. They have authority to sign off on regulatory requirements for engineering, lead customer and supplier negotiations, and they act as a technical lead for Lean and Six Sigma projects. So just to touch quickly on the benefits for employers, and I think this will be delved into a lot more in our panel discussion in a couple of minutes, where you'll be able to hear kind of firsthand from the people on the ground how these apprenticeships are impacting business. But just quickly, there are financial incentives and supports available to employers. So on the consortia-led programs, you will be eligible to receive a €2,000 per apprentice per year grant. So that's something you will be eligible for. The feedback from employers has been really, really good. The feedback has been that the apprenticeships improve diversity and inclusion, and also employee retention as well. You know, shared learning, a lot of the apprenticeships are coming from different backgrounds, different experience levels. They're kind of coming together. They're bringing a new, fresh energy to the organization. They're adding business value, and Paul will touch on that a little bit more in a while, but the apprentices do a work-based project as opposed to academic. So they're really adding value to the business very early on in their apprenticeship journey. And for yourselves, you're very much developing engineering talent that's tailored specifically to your own business needs. So that's really positive. So I'll just quickly take you through, I suppose, our kind of timelines for 2026 and the possible intakes that you could have an apprentice on. We will make all this information available afterwards as well. Anyone who registered for the webinar, you'll receive all the updates on our 2026 intakes, including what colleges they're offered in and what levels, because it does vary based on the college. So we have a summer intake. So with the summer intake, the apprentice does an induction at the beginning of August. They then have a 6-week, what we call initial block with the company, and they go to college for a 15-week academic block in September, all the way up to December. They're then back on site in industry with your company from January all the way through to the following September. And it follows that same pattern each year of the program. So just really important to remember there's a 15-week academic block each year. If it's a winter intake you're putting your apprentice on, the induction is typically mid-November. So that's the official start of the apprenticeship. Their initial block with the company is up to Christmas, and they're on site with the company, from January all the way through to May. So I suppose the most important takeaways from that is if it's a summer intake, the candidate goes to college in September. If it's a winter intake, the candidate goes to college in January. And I have a couple of slides here that show where the programs are running and what levels for this year. And as I said, we will share afterwards as well. For a summer intake, so that's an August start. ATU Galway will be offering the level 6, 7 and 8. And at the moment there's 12 spaces. TUS in Limerick will be offering the level 6. And at the moment there's 16 places. They can take 2 classes, so it's a slightly higher capacity. MTU Cork offer the level 6, 7 and 8 programme. And at the moment that is fully booked, but I suppose things can change with companies. So we do have a waiting list available for MTU Cork. These bookings are kind of accurate as of today, but we are in the process of talking with companies and firming up those numbers. So I would just advise getting in touch as soon as possible if you'd like to have an apprentice in 2026. For the winter intake then, which is a November start, ATU Sligo offer the level 6 and 7. There's currently 3 spaces available. Dundalk IT were a new provider last year, so it's just their second year running the programme. They'll be offering the level 6 and 7 in winter, and there's currently 14 spaces available. TUS in Limerick have 20 spaces available for level 6 and 7. It'll be their first time running the level 7, which I'll touch on again in a moment. And then MTU Cork will have another intake for level 6, 7 and 8, and there's currently 11 spaces available. So just a little bit on the entry criteria for these programs, just for you to be aware of at that kind of recruitment stage, whether you're, hiring somebody new in for the apprenticeship, or maybe it's an existing employee that you'd like to put forward for it. I suppose there's 2 kind of main entry routes. So if the candidate is using their leaving cert to enter the program, they should have a minimum of 160 points. So a pass in 5 ordinary leaving cert subjects, 2 of which must be maths and a language. Just important to note, leaving cert applied isn't considered suitable for the program. They may also have a level 5 or 6 in a cognate discipline. If they have leaving cert maths as well, they would be eligible. And then if it's a mature student, so somebody who's 23 years of age or over, if they don't have a leaving cert for one reason or another, they would still be eligible to apply to the program. They must pass a company interview. So what we have is a mature student assessment form that the company is responsible for filling out at interview stage. And essentially you're just assessing the candidate's suitability for the program. So it is open to mature students as well. Good to be aware as well of our advanced entry route. So you might have somebody in mind who might be eligible to gain advanced entry to the program onto, say, year 2 or 3. So as you can see there, year 2, so recognition of prior learning for applicants who have completed, say, a first year of a cognate engineering program and plus 1 year of relevant industry experience. Applicants who gain advanced entry into year 2 must be enrolling for 2 years, so they'd have to be signing up to the level 7. But I suppose it's just important to keep in mind that if you have someone with some level of industry experience and maybe they've completed something else in engineering, they may be eligible to skip a year or 2 for the program. As you can see there in year 3 as well, higher certificate in manufacturing engineering, or if they have a cognate higher certificate, level 6 plus 2 years relevant industry experience. It's very much assessed on a case-by-case basis, but we have seen an increase in interest of people gaining advanced entry onto the program. So just to keep that in mind. So the mentor for the program, this is something we put quite a bit of focus on for the apprenticeships, and we'll hear from a mentor in our industry panel discussion as well. But if you are looking to take on an apprentice on these programs, I would recommend thinking about your mentor very early on in the process. So in order for a company to be registered for the program with Solus, you have to have a suitable mentor. So just to be having a think about that as soon as you can. So the requirements, so for a manufacturing technician level 6 apprentice, the industry mentor requires a minimum of a level 6 qualification in a cognate discipline with a minimum of 4 years post-qualification experience. If it's a level 6 technician acting as a mentor, it's recommended that they're supported by an engineer. For level 7, then just quickly, they should have a minimum level 7 in a cognate discipline, 4 years post-qualification experience, and hold a position of technical responsibility. For the level 8, then they should have a minimum level 8 qualification in a cognate discipline, 4 years post-qualification experience, and hold a position of engineering responsibility in the company. The feedback we've had is that the mentor is really, really crucial to the apprentice's journey on the apprenticeship, their professional development, everything like that. So just to kind of have a mentor in mind as soon as you can at that registration phase. And we have a mentor form, and we require a copy of the mentor's qualifications as well at registration stage. So how to get involved, again, after this webinar, if you want to get in touch, we'd be more than happy to go into more detail on everything. But how it works, there's an Ibec pre-approval stage. So what we require from the company is a company commitment form, which we can provide to you, a mentor form, which we can provide, and as I said, a copy of those mentor qualifications. Even if it's just a photograph of the mentor's qualifications, that's no problem, but it is really, really important that we see those and review to ensure that the mentor is suitable for the program. We then notify Solus on your behalf. What happens is a Solus authorised officer will be in touch. They normally do a site visit, and they're essentially just confirming that you're suitable to train an apprentice on this particular program, whether it be the level 6, 7 or 8 that you've registered for. Even if you've been involved with other apprenticeships in the past, it's kind of per apprenticeship, so they will need to approve you for this specific one. The same then, once you have your apprentice's details, we would notify Solus on your behalf. This particular company is registering an apprentice, whether it be for the 6, 7 or 8, the summer intake, the winter intake. We'd support you throughout that whole registration process. The last step then really is the college registration, which is quite straightforward, and that would be kind of down the line once your apprentice is ready for the induction side of things. So just quickly, I suppose, kind of some news for 2026, and I kind of touched on it in previous slides, but Dundalk IT actually rolled out the programs for the very first time in 2025. So they will be offering the level 6 and 7 programs again now in 2026. So it's really kind of opened the apprenticeship up to a whole new region, and we might have some companies on the call where it might suit you to send your apprentices to Dundalk IT. So that's really positive. And we're delighted to say that the level 7 programme will be offered in TUS Midwest Limerick for the very first time. So historically, TUS have only offered the level 6 programme. So it's great that companies will have the option to put their apprentices on the level 7 programme in TUS as well. So just before I hand over to Paul, I suppose just to kind of highlight some of the good work that's being done by our apprentices and our employers as well. So this was just an article from the Irish Times a couple of years ago. So Shannon Kearney, she said she went from nearly failing maths in school to getting top marks in college. So I think that's really important to highlight, because I think we all know the maths kind of can scare people off a little bit sometimes, but the apprentices overall are doing really, really well, which is good. Just to highlight a couple of the awards that have been won at the Generation Apprenticeship Awards. We're obviously really proud of our apprentices and employers on the programme. So just a couple of examples there. Jodie White in 2024 was Apprentice of the Year winner in the engineering category. Hazel Johnson was actually the very first female National Apprenticeship of the Year winner in 2023 overall, so that was brilliant. Last year, Veris Metrology, one of our employers, won Small Employer of the Year. We had McDreelan in Striker, winner of the 2024 Outstanding Apprenticeship Enabler Award. So that was fantastic. Marie de Benes was top 12 National Apprentice of the Year finalist in 2022 as well. And we also had J&J Vision win the Large Employer of the Year, which is great. So we're delighted to see the programs kind of gaining traction and getting that kind of positive feedback in the media as well, which is great. So this kind of just gives you a snapshot of a lot of the companies that we have involved in the programs to date. A lot of companies there, as you can see, and we are seeing new companies join the programs each intake, which is really, really positive, and across a range of sectors as well. So I suppose just to say, you know, if the company has a manufacturing process in place, they can apply the principles of these apprenticeships. So that's really good. We have a LinkedIn page, so it'd be fantastic if you're not already engaged with us on that, just to give us a follow. So we'd post about any events we have, like when we have another webinar coming up, it'll be up on our LinkedIn, and any important updates will go up there. So I'll be back to you for the panel discussion, but for now I'm just going to hand over to Paul O'Dowd. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Jen. Hello, everybody. So I'm just going to give an overview of the content and what's actually in the program. We've been running the program since the certificate and BEng since 2017, and we conduct regular reviews with all our industry partners, and the feedback has always been excellent, and the quality of the candidates has always been excellent. So just maybe we'll go on to the next slide there. Yeah, so it's a robust and a very good program designed by industry for industry. So industry has been crucial in the whole development of the program right from day one. And with the development of our new Year 4 program, we had a team of industry people working with the academics to find out what do the apprentices need to know. We ran with a 3-year program, 2- and 3-year program up until 2024, and then industry told us that really for some of the advanced tasks and the regulatory tasks, they needed level 8 engineers. And that's what we've delivered. And that's very successful. And the students are loving that 4th year of the program. So we'll just move on to the next slide there. So you could look at the programs in terms of the engineering fundamentals, the science and the maths. Manufacturing runs through all years of the program. And then we have the operational excellence, the broader skills, the problem solving skills. And then we have our work placement, engineering practice in the work placement for, pretty much 7 months of the year. So this 2-year program, first of all, will take your school leaver, your product builder, and build them up into a process technician. And by year 2, they're delivering to the business in terms of tangible problem solving projects like 5S, Kanban. The 2nd year project is a lean manufacturing focus, focusing on things like reducing waste, adding value, and so on. And we can have a single minute exchange of die or setup reduction type of projects. So the skills they develop in 1st year on the CAD, they apply them in 2nd year. They move on to designing fixtures. They start off with milling and CNC machining, CNC machining in 2nd year. And lean manufacturing and quality. And then as we move on into 3rd year, we're broadening it out into things like project management. We're looking at 6 Sigma again, robotics, polymer processing technology, and again, broader subjects like operations management. So they're getting the big picture. So these programs are designed to develop a creative problem solver who can work across a range of industries. We've agricultural companies, medical device companies, companies generating very fine, precise components, and all the way up to baler wrappers in agricultural engineering. So our 3rd year project is based on the root cause elimination of a problem in industry, and the students use it to make a methodology to develop and bring solutions to industry. And then we have our new 4th year, which again in the science and maths, we start looking at designed experiments, hypothesis testing, and some statistical analysis there. And we're looking at things like 3D printing, sustainable manufacturing, digital twin, SCADA systems, robotics, vision systems, and also a new module for us, this decision theory and data visualization looks at the data handling and what do I do with all the data I'm collecting from my machines, and can it drive decision making in the business? Then we also have process validation and verification, which is one of the skill sets that these level 8 engineers need in the workplace. And the projects have been really value-adding projects, introducing new technologies into the workplace for the companies. And we've had feedback from our apprentices that the skills that they pick up on the academic side by, say, second year are exactly the kind of skills that are pitched at the level of job that they're doing in their own companies at that time, and the level of responsibility that they're given as a technician. And then in third year, as their job spec expands, the skills they're picking up match the kind of jobs they're doing. And by the time they're doing a level 8, the companies want them implementing the new technology, bringing new ideas into the company, and helping maybe with new product introduction and so forth. So that's how the program builds up. Now, it's all built on active learning. So even in the college, it's 50% hands-on, 50% academic. If we take second year as an example, so some of the subjects we teach only in the academic block, but other subjects like lean manufacturing, we believe we can only really fully learn that by applying it in the workplace. So 75% of the assessment, for example, in that happens in the workplace. Similarly, design of fixtures, the students go into the workplace and develop an actual fixture there. And obviously quality and regulatory affairs, again, a lot of the learning there happens in the workplace where the tools are applied. And then for each of the years, we have the next piece here is the industry module. So it's a technical project. So again, what we have here is an engineering program tailored to your industry needs. So they're picking up all the general engineering skills, but a significant amount of the time, they're actually learning those skills, but with your processes and your technologies as the example and your learning environment. So by the time they're finished, they're trained up as a generic engineer, but also it's tailored to your particular needs. So the project will be tailored to your needs. Say in second year, the process studies on regulatory affairs. They have reflective logbooks, which they work through with their industry mentor, where they're asking themselves, what did I learn in the workplace and how can I improve? And then industry is involved as well in analyzing their performance and how their learning has gone and how their contribution to the company has gone. While they're in industry, they get support from lecturers and also from an academic supervisor. So Jen, I think I can hand back to you now. That's just a really quick run through the academic side of the program.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Paul. That's brilliant. So just before we go over to the panel discussion, so we just have a couple of quotes in there from a couple of our employers, and obviously we'll be hearing from some in a minute as well. But just for example, there's some feedback. Industry collaborating with academia has resulted in a well-designed program. It enables us to deliver a constant pipeline of talent to meet current and future needs of the business. And I think what Paul touched on there kind of speaks to that, just that it is very much an industry-driven program. That's really important. Really good feedback from the mentors on the program as well. Thanks to the learning opportunities and exposure to a range of projects, the apprentices quickly become a valuable and sought after resource for multiple departments within the company, which I think is really positive. And the mentors on the program have kind of given feedback that it's a really good experience for their career as well to help the apprentice along. Apprentices, I've gained third level education, which would not have been an option for me unless I was supported financially. That's really important to a lot of the apprentices. They are able to earn a salary while on the program as well. So that's great. So we're actually running on time, which is fantastic. So I might just introduce our panel speakers, if you don't mind. I think you're all possibly on camera already, which is great. And if I didn't say it already, we will have time at the end for questions. If there's any particular questions that you have, there is a Q&A function in the chat as well if you wanted to pop any questions in there, and we'll address those in the last couple of minutes. But I'd like to welcome, so we have Kim Keneally. Kim is a fourth year level 8 apprentice with Boston Scientific in Clonmel. We have Nicola O'Connell, who is talent development lead with TE Connectivity. And we also have Greg Foley, who is apprenticeship coordinator and also a mentor with Johnson & Johnson Vision Care. So you're all very welcome, and thank you so much for joining. As Trish mentioned earlier, it's really valuable for us to get feedback from the people kind of on the ground and to get your perspective of the apprenticeship. So Kim, I might start with you if that's all right. I'll come to you first. So really just talk us through your experience as an apprentice so far, just briefly. What inspired you to go down the apprenticeship route and how have you been finding it?
So I suppose what kind of inspired me the most was my daughter Jo trying to go back to college, and trying to let other people know that like no matter what your age or like whatever part of life you're in, Joe, you can always go back to college at any point. I suppose I didn't really enjoy school when I was younger either. So now to be completing a manufacturing apprenticeship and studying here at MTU is something that I'm incredibly proud of at the moment. Um, I suppose another huge factor then is the financial stability. Joe, like I'm able to have a full-time job while going to college at the same time. Um, Joe, being paid while I'm in my college education is a massive benefit, and that's kind of another reason why I chose the apprenticeship route as well. Without that support, realistically, I suppose I wouldn't have been able to leave my full-time job to go back and pursue a career in engineering. And I suppose it's just made the whole journey possible for me at this point as well. So far, the experience has been great. Like, I won't lie, it hasn't always been easy, and there's been hectic days, but there have definitely been challenges. And at those times, I just kind of learned to take a step back, like the importance of talking to your colleagues, talking to your lecturers, and I availed of the facilities here at MTU, like the Academic Learning Centre as well, which is absolutely fantastic. And that definitely helped me through my maths modules as well, because that would have been a weak point of mine. So overall, yeah, it's been amazing, and I genuinely never thought I'd be completing 4 years of college at this point. So it's been an eye-opener and rewarding at the same time.
Brilliant. Thanks, Kim. And you've just recently actually started the level 8, so you've gone into year 4. Tell us a bit about what made you want to kind of progress on and do an extra year.
Yeah, so we're currently in week 5 of the Level 8 program. I started there in January. It's definitely been a bit daunting coming back and getting told, Joe, you've a thesis to do, and I was like, oh God. But Joe, we'll all get through it, and we have a fantastic group of 16 people in our class as well, and the support and the help that we give to each other is huge as well, and it's a massive support for myself because, like Joe, I could be stronger at one module than another person, so we'd kind of bounce off each other in that sense. Um, when I first started the apprenticeship, I actually only signed up to the level 6. My initial goal was to, yeah, my initial goal was to just qualify and put myself in with a chance of becoming a technician in Boston Scientific in Clonmel. I actually didn't realize that progressing onto level 7 was an option until I started down in MTU. Darren rolled out, Joe, how the course is progressing and that the sites of the level 8 were in mind as well at that time. So I suppose I put it to my mentor about the level 7, and he was only delighted that I wanted to progress on further and completely supported me in giving me the chance to come back to do the level 7. And I suppose later when the level 8 was developed for an apprenticeship mode, it was massive. And I didn't even have to ask my mentor or say it to work. You know, they were just like, look, you're doing the level 8. And I was kind of like, yeah, why not? Like, because I suppose if I stopped, I would have kind of lost the mind frame for like the academic side and the learning side. So I was really encouraged as well by the supports around me, both in college and in work. And I just kind of said, Joe, why not? Why stop now? So I just decided to continue on to the level 8 as well. And looking back, I suppose I'm really proud of how far I've come since year 1. My company has been very supportive and proud of me as well. So more than anything, I suppose it's just proven that with hard work and persistence that everyone can have a career and it's always possible.
Great. Thanks, Kim. That's very inspiring. And I think it's always good to hear those stories where someone kind of says, oh, I was only going to do the level 6 and they've gone the whole way. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Greg, I might come to you if you're there. I can't see you on my screen, but I think you're there. Yeah. So Greg, what's your experience been of the apprenticeship, I suppose, from that company perspective, and also from the perspective of supporting apprentices through their journey?
Yeah, I suppose just to give people an idea, we've been here. So I'm with Johnson Johnson down in Limerick. So we've been here for the last 30 years. So I suppose our workforce, we're getting a little bit older in here. So I know around 2017 when this was introduced, we jumped on it and we just we trialed it with 4 apprentices. So we've kind of kicked off from there. So down here we've around 800 technicians and engineers on site. So it's a fairly large site here. There's 50 production lines and we're making contact lenses all day, every day. But what we see and what we're using it for is to kind of produce a talent pipeline for the future. So right now in the program, from our point of view, we've kind of over 50 people And that's between the level 50 apprentices. That's on the level 6, level 7, and level 8. So we've jumped on the level 7s and level 8s also. So kind of similar to Kim there. There's some really good stories down here. I know Jodie White has been mentioned here already. So Jodie would have come in here as, I suppose she came from the hospitality background. She came in here, I suppose, as an unskilled worker. Kind of liked the environment in here, and she was in the right place at the right time, and she got on the level 6 program and then went through the level 7 and level 8, and then she won the National Apprentice of the Year there just last year. And it's nice to see it from our point of view, I suppose, because she's gone from maybe unskilled worker, if you like, to apprenticeship, you know, to become an apprentice, then flowed into becoming a process technician, and right now she's moved again, I suppose, in the last year, and she's now a process engineer. So it's nice to see, you know, from our point of view, somebody going through that whole process. Yes, it's just a quick overview.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Greg. And I might just come to you, Nicola, as well. I suppose just tell us maybe a little bit about how you've implemented the apprenticeship into connectivity.
Yeah, sure. And kind of similar to what Greg was saying there in terms of pipelining. So I guess it was only when we were chatting last week, Jen, on this, I was kind of reflecting on the last couple of years that we've had, and we've had apprentices since 2017, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 2026. Like, where is the time going? And I suppose it's definitely evolved at how we started it out and how we run it now. So I guess our process is it's upskilling our current employees. So that's what we use it as. So we have yet to employ an apprentice externally. It has all been our product builders and upskilling them through the level 6 through the level 7. So with that, it is all about creating a pipeline for our future technicians and engineers. So we're in the medical device industry in Galway. So we have lots of competitors like right beside us, across the road, etc. So we had to look a little bit differently about how we were developing that talent that we needed. And I guess we have kind of a unique, I suppose, manufacturing processes like every organization does, but I guess because we're a contract manufacturer, we also have that, it's slightly different to the OEMs in that we don't have the same, I guess, branding maybe, or, you know, that same appeal. So by implementing it as a talent pipeline for our technicians, for our engineers, not only has it done that, but it also has helped with our employee branding. It has helped with retention. Like you put up a slide there earlier, Jen, I was like, there are all the things that it has done for us. And like we have some fabulous, like just the most amazing individuals have come through and are still going through the apprenticeship program. So our process is, you know, you have to express interest. You have to be sponsored by an engineer or a supervisor, a senior engineer in your area. You know, we have an interview process to go through. So I think the first intake, there was one individual, and like our last intake, we'll say, that started in September. We had 35 expressions of interest, and if we could give spaces to 35, it'd be, if we had the ability, it would be amazing. And we give 4 places. So it is done on, you know, have you shown that technical aptitude, etc. But it has been hugely beneficial for us as an organization. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, great. And it's fantastic to hear as well, I suppose, the ways different companies use the apprenticeship. So whether you're bringing in new people or using it more as a tool to upskill. So that's brilliant. And I might ask you as well, Nicola, how do you kind of go about identifying the mentors then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I guess, of course, typically, like the first couple of years, it was like, okay, we had one mentor and he was marvelous and he did a great job at it. But then obviously the pool grew, so we couldn't have one mentor for the huge of the pool. And what we quickly noticed is that we had lots of technical experts in areas, and we said, okay, well, how about, you know, we, you know, marry that with that person, etc. And what we've noticed about the mentors is that individual contributors, you know, at that senior level might say they would be great mentors. And what has actually turned out is like, oh, do you know what? This experience has also said, maybe I'd actually like to manage people, because I'm not sure about the rest of you on the call, but engineers are hard to find for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, but also engineering managers are really hard to find, you know, that technical expertise with the people management. So, but again, that would be kind of a rigorous process in terms of, or not rigorous, but it's like, again, expression of interest. If you want to mentor, like, do you meet the criteria? You know, do you have the aptitude to work with somebody else? So that has definitely evolved since 2017, I would say as well. 2017, poor Marty got stuck with all the apprentices,
All
but he
the
has one
apprentices.
left. Yeah, but do you know the one thing all the mentors say to me? They're like, "Oh God," and whatever. I'm not sure, and I'm like, "Listen, you'll go through the briefing. You give a great briefing." And the college is a great help as well. They all come back to me and saying, "Okay, you know, my apprentice is done. Can I have another one?" And you're like, it doesn't work like that. You know, everyone has to get a choice. So it definitely is beneficial on both sides for sure, I would say.
Perfect. And that's the thing, there is mentor training that's mandatory as well. And we also have mentor forums where mentors can kind of share best practice with each other. And that's quite helpful too. So just staying on the kind of mentor side of things, because it is quite a big topic, I'll come to you, Greg. Could you just tell us from your perspective a bit about, I suppose, kind of the importance of the mentor in the whole process?
Yeah, we're lucky here. I suppose there's three of us working here full time on the apprenticeship program. So Hannah Sinnott is the program lead, and then there's myself and Adrian, we're the coordinators, mentors. But yeah, like how it works with us is when the apprentices start in here, they come in here kind of, and we kick off. So it's June and October. That's when we bring them in. So really for us, it's really important for us when the apprentices started to see nice friendly faces to start with. So because we just, like, our role I suppose really is to provide guidance and support. We're wearing many different hats, constantly linking up with the academic supervisors, just making sure everything's okay, and providing lots of feedback, one-to-ones with the apprentices all along the journeys. I think it's really important to kind of understand and know their academic schedules along the way, which we're kind of all over really and stuff like that. But yeah, like that's just a quick overview. Again, we're providing assessments here on site when they come back on industry block, giving feedback, and like the whole idea, everything revolves around the apprentice. I think really it kind of shortens the time to productivity. So, you know, we can help with teaching them processes and standards and, you know, safety practices here on site. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I think the feedback from most companies is, you know, just how important the mentor is, and I suppose just to be kind of conscious of that at the stage of choosing a suitable mentor. Brilliant. So Kim, I'll come back to you if that's okay. Just to let everyone know, do you feel what you learn in college, are you able to kind of apply that to your work on site with Boston Scientific?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I've applied a huge amount of what I've learned in college directly to my work back in Boston. Like, for example, Joe, like validating new equipment. So I've been involved in IQ, OQ, PQ, and fat testing of machines, and having that academic understanding going back to work really helped me contribute to that process and kind of understand the bigger picture behind what we're actually doing and what's going on during that process as well. It's also made a big difference to me with downtime issues. You know, my troubleshooting skills have excelled, and technical knowledge that I've developed through the program as well has helped me approach problems more competently and more confidently as well in my decision making. Joe, since year one, like I've gone from kind of questioning my decision to relying on others to say, oh yeah, you're right in what you're saying there, to kind of now like I'm confident to say, look, I'm 90% sure this is our issue, but we'll just kind of do more testing in that regard to be 100%. Joe, I've also had a few light bulb moments as well, like going back to work, like learn about something in a lecture, kind of you're like, God, what's this about, kind of, Joe, and kind of going researching it myself, and then going back to the industry block and saying, oh, that's what that was, and kind of putting it into a practical motion as well has definitely been beneficial, and applying my skills that way as well. So
Brilliant. And I think you've kind of covered it, but I think you'd say overall the apprenticeship has had a good impact on your career to date?
Yeah, definitely. Like in terms of my career impact, I suppose it's been massive. I've progressed from an apprentice to a manufacturing technician within Boston Scientific, and I genuinely love the role, you know, because it's different day to day, and there's a variety of problem solving involved. I've been kind of lined up for an engineering role once I complete the level 8 as well. So kind of looking back on my journey, I started out as a product builder in Boston Scientific, and I applied and was interviewed for the apprenticeship within Boston as well. And so going from a production line moving towards engineering, it was just massive for me. And I suppose the apprenticeship route gave me that opportunity to prove myself. And so I was able to develop my career that way and progress into engineering route. So I'm really proud of that as well.
Brilliant. Well done, Kim. It's great to hear about your journey and all your success.
Thank you.
Nicola, I might come to you for kind of the last maybe word, unless somebody else wants to jump in with any points. But overall, what would you say are the benefits of these apprenticeship programs, and what impact are they having on the business?
Yeah, I think one of the huge things, and Kim, like your story is absolutely amazing. And you mentioned one word there is the confidence. And you can see that with the apprentices, like it's amazing. The year 1, year 2, year 3. And then I suppose by osmosis nearly, or whatever you want to say, is, these individuals are coming back with confidence. They're upskilling everyone around them as well, which is amazing. But I think overall, like certainly from, I suppose, the practicalities, the talent pipelining, make sure that, there's the continuation of talent, of knowledge, of all of that kind of stuff, the business stuff, obviously, which is really important. But I think it's definitely the culture in which the apprentices create in the organization as well. It's that culture of learning. People want to learn, and even outside of apprenticeships, right? And listen, we can't give everyone the space in the apprenticeship program, unfortunately, but it has definitely like increased our numbers of people wanting to further their education in other routes, maybe, or in also what we have found as well as in your other apprenticeship, the polymer apprenticeship, right? Because we've polymers on site. So it's a confidence, it's the culture, it's the learning. And what I should say, and I know Sarah dropped it in there as well, is that, the mentor, it's free training for the mentor, right? So it's free upskilling for the mentor because there's no cost associated with it. One thing, and I know this is kind of a side note, but we had recently just submitted for our IDA training grant, and what we found out was that apprenticeships are eligible for that. So there's actually a way of gaining back some of the time that apprentices spend in training as well. So there's not a huge sunk cost, because that's one of the things that when I talk to other companies, they might be like, oh, we have to pay them while they're not there. And I was like, yeah, but you know what, when they're back, they're like tenfold. So I don't it's just seeing it as that very singular view of like, oh, you have to pay them when they're in college. What comes back, the benefits are endless. And we have 2 amazing stories. One individual, he was our first apprentice, and now he's mentoring on it. Started as an operator, and is now kind of on the cusp of being kind of senior principal MPD engineer. And then another individual was just promoted to an engineering supervisor, who had come from a hospitality background, came in here working nights, didn't know what he wanted to do. And then was like, oh, maybe I'll apply for the apprenticeship. I seem to be good with my hands. 5 years later, he's an engineering supervisor. Like it's phenomenal for the individual, as Kim has spoken about her experience, and it's so wonderful to hear that. But for an organization to create that type of, culture it couldn't be done without the apprenticeship. Like it's just, I couldn't speak highly enough of it.
That's brilliant. Thanks so much, Nicola. So I might kind of open it up to see if there's any other questions. I'm not sure if anything's come through, but listen, I just want to say as well, thanks so much to Kim, Nicola and Greg. Like, obviously we can speak very highly of the program all day long, but it's really important for us to hear from people who are experiencing it firsthand, and how it kind of works on the ground, and those benefits as you all spoke of. So more than happy to answer any questions myself, or if anyone had any additional questions for our panel speakers, we could open it up to that as well. There is a Q&A function in the chat if you wanted to pop anything in, but thanks so much to our panel.
Just a question there, Nicola and Greg. We've heard from other companies that as well as the apprentices making a big impact in their companies, the mentors as well are going on to more senior and more influential roles. Have you found that they're also developing their broader skills? Yeah.
Yeah, like we would have seen that as well. So I guess, Paul, from our side, the mentors would typically be like the individual contributor seniors, if you know what I mean, rather than supervising others. But definitely we've had, I think, definitely one move into a project manager role, and that's the route that they're going down. But you can see their own skills, their own development, even they're working on projects and stuff like that has hugely benefited for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same here, Paul. It's nice to see, and it's great to see, yeah, them progressing through different roles in the company. So yeah, no.
Perfect. So we're at 10 to now, just about. So I'm more than happy to open it up to any questions. Hopefully we covered a lot of what you're wondering, but we do have a couple more minutes, so we'd be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. What I'll do as well is I'll just pop this slide up with our contact details if you don't have it already. So there's myself, obviously Trish Breen is the project manager. We work with Yvonne and Sarah as well. And then Anne O'Connell is head of funded projects in Ibec. So you have all our details there if you want to ask anything. But yeah, is there any questions before we finish up? Quiet bunch. Hopefully that means we covered most things in the panel discussion. Well, listen, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick one, sorry. The level 7 in TUS, how many spaces will be on that course?
Is that's Hannah, is it?
It's me, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So there will be a class. It kind of depends, Hannah. I might even take that offline with you, just because there'll be a year 1 class who are able to sign up for level 7 in November, starting from scratch. But then there will be an option for people who have done level 6 to progress on to level 7 in January of 2027.
Okay.
So I can have a chat with you about that if that's all right.
Perfect. Thanks, Jennifer.
No problem.
And Jennifer, can I just ask, if you were in second year and you finished at Christmas, would you be able to join the level 7 in January next year?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
once they've successfully completed the level 6 and their time served with SOLAS is complete as well. So I suppose it just would depend on when they were registered with SOLAS, because those dates are very important. But that's Siobhan, is it? Sorry, I wasn't even seeing you there. How are you? So it would depend on the SOLAS registration date.
Okay.
But as long as they've successfully completed the level 6 and their time served is complete, they'll just have to get re-registered with SOLAS for the level 7 programme.
Okay. I might connect with you privately on that.
Absolutely,
Okay.
no problem at all.
Okay.
Thanks, Siobhan.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
So I'll be staying on for a couple of minutes if there is any questions, but I just want to say thanks so much to everyone for joining. We really appreciate you taking the time out to listen, and I think you kind of heard from the panelists there the really positive impact that these apprenticeship programs are having on businesses and on the apprentices. It's great to hear the kind of success stories as well. So please do feel free to get in touch if you have any other questions, and we will be sharing the slides, the recording, more information that we think you might find useful afterwards as well. So, and thanks to all my colleagues, to the panelists, and to Paul from ATU Galway, and to Sarah and Trish who work on the apprenticeship as well.
Yeah, and congratulations, Kim, on your apprenticeship journey. All of us on the academic side, we love to hear these success stories, and the same as the success stories from the companies, from Nicola and Greg. It's just, it's all, you know, it's all what we've been working to since Ibec kicked this thing off in 2015. So it's a lot. It's been a long road, and it's great as it's been such a success.
Yeah, it's great to hear the good news stories, definitely.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for
Okay,
joining.
everyone.
thanks very much.
Thanks very
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bye.
Jen. Bye. Bye-bye.